Good morning, or afternoon, you wonderful people. Today's your last reading quiz. It will be a total of 4 points. I really just want to see how well you read in this short and sweet article for a grade. So when we are done, there's a couple of things that I want you to do. Number one, continue to learn. Play those games on the announcement post from yesterday. I'll just continue to link directly to that particular assignment or to that particular announcement so you can have access to that. And then get your stuff done. I know I said it yesterday a lot, but this class is a weird one. There's certain things that you learn and then you read something else and they kind of seem contradictory, but I assure you it all fits together. When you learn about the Declaration of Independence, where it says all men are created equal, and then you do the due process assignment, and you're like, wait a minute, government really has had to change to, better the wrongs that it did in the past, and that's the point of it. So, what you guys are going to be reading about today is a tool, speaking of governing, that presidents use to govern the country. It's something that, as a teacher, it's not really talked a lot about in the book that I use, but it is interesting no matter what. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the article to you. You can follow along or listen to me, and then I'm going to give you the code to actually read it. I assure you the answers are found in the section that you read, but I want to make sure you read all of it right now before I give you the code. So here we go. What is an executive order? And there is a picture of President Biden, of course, signing an executive order. Just hours after taking the oath of office, President Joe Biden signed 9 executive orders. This is the largest number of executive orders any president has signed on the first day in office. The orders signed by Biden address urgent issues such as COVID-19 response and undo many of Trump's policies on immigration and environmental deregulation. Biden is not the first U.S. president to issue executive orders, and he certainly won't be the last. My own research shows executive orders have been a mainstay in American politics, but they do have limitations. What is an executive order? The Constitution plainly establishes familiar presidential tools like vetoes and appointments, but the real executive power comes from reading between the lines. Clauses in Article 2 of the Constitution say things like, the executive power shall be vested in a president, and he shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Presidents have long interpreted those clauses to give them total authority to enforce the laws through the executive branch by any means necessary. Did balloons just go off? Anyways, back to it. You got to laugh. We're just reading an article here about just one thing that I want you to learn about. All right, back to it. One way they do this is through executive orders. These are presidential written directives to federal agencies on how to implement the law. The courts view them as legally valid unless they violate the Constitution or existing statutes. Executive orders are just like other unilateral actions. They allow presidents to make policy outside of the regular lawmaking process. This leaves Congress, which is famously polarized and gridlocked, to respond to the executive orders. As a result, executive orders give presidents several advantages. They allow presidents to move first and act alone in policymaking. How have these historically been used? Every U.S. president has issued executive orders since they were first recorded in 1905. In March 2016, then presidential candidate Donald Trump criticized President Obama's use of executive orders. Executive orders sort of come about more recently. Nobody ever heard of an executive order. Then all of a sudden, Obama, Because he couldn't get anyone to agree with him, he starts signing them like they're butter, Trump said. So I want to do away with executive orders for the most part. Little in this statement is true. Obama signed fewer orders than the presidents before him. He averaged 35 per year. Many presidents before Obama issued executive orders. As President Trump issued an average of 55 per year. Against conventional wisdom, presidents have relied less on executive orders over time. Modern presidents have issued far fewer orders per year than their pre-World War II counterparts. Modern presidents average 59 executive orders a year. Pre-World War II presidents averaged 314 a year. Executive orders have been used for a wide range of things. They've been used for routine federal workplace policies like ethics pledges. They have also been used for more controversial crises like the Iran hostage situation and the COVID-19 pandemic. Presidents often use them to advance their most important policy agenda items. They do this by using executive orders to create task forces or policy initiatives. They also do this by directing rulemaking, the process for formally translating laws into codified policy. We have a graph there. It's called executive orders used to be much more common. And as you can see, the trend for executive orders has gone down a bit. Limitations in their use. Why don't presidents always issue executive orders? Executive orders aren't used that often because they come with serious constraints. First, executive orders may not be as one-sided as they seem. Drafting an order is a time-consuming process. It includes a lot of bargaining with various agencies over the content. Second, executive orders can be overturned by the courts. If they are issued without proper legal authority, they won't stand. This doesn't happen very often, though. For example, take Trump's travel ban, which placed strict restrictions on travel to the United States from several predominantly Muslim countries. It faced several legal challenges before it was written in a way to satisfy the courts. On the other hand, many of his initial orders didn't face legal scrutiny. This is because they simply requested agencies to work within their existing legal authority to change important policies like healthcare and immigration. Congress is another barrier. Lawmakers give presidents the legal authority to make policy in certain areas, but by withholding that authority, Congress can make it difficult for presidents to issue executive orders on certain issues. If the president issues the order anyway, the courts can overturn it. Even a Congress that can't agree on much can find ways to sanction a president for an executive order they don't like. For example, a committee can hold an oversight hearing or launch an investigation. Both of these actions can decrease a president's public approval rating. Congresses of today are equipped to hand out these constraints. They do this more often when the majority of Congress is in the opposite party of the president. This is why scholars find modern presidents issue fewer executive orders under divided government. This contradicts the popular media narratives that portray executive orders as a president's way of skipping Congress's role of making laws. Finally, executive orders are not the last word in policy. They can be easily revoked. New presidents often reverse previous orders, especially if the last president was from the opposing political party. For example, Biden quickly revoked Trump's directives that excluded undocumented immigrants from the U.S. census. All recent presidents have issued revocations, especially in their first year. However, they face barriers in doing so. Public opinion, Congress, and legal limitations impact much of what they do. Regardless, executive orders are not as durable as laws or regulations. And we have a graph there. Presidents often revoke some of their predecessors' orders. And the word predecessor just means the president before them. As you can see, we have our presidents here: Trump, Obama, Bush, George W. Bush, Clinton, George H.W. Bush, and Reagan. Finally, the future of executive orders. What will change for executive orders in the future? I wouldn't expect much. I predict we'll continue to see executive orders issued. It's common for a president to use all available legal authority to transform their goals into government policy. And it's also likely that these directives may be undone by the next president with the stroke of a pen. So that is just one little tool that is up for debate. So let's pretend this guy issues an executive order. And again, a president can do that. And the executive order has to be fair. It has to be a good policy. Why? Because it has to survive all of the other checks and balances that Congress has on that. So this is something that still impacts us today, but these kinds of like decisions on what the president can actually do actually comes from the history side, learning about the Philadelphia Convention and why it was such an important thing to discuss the role of a president when they do and act sometimes like a king by issuing these executive orders. So our experiences in the past influence us in the future. That's why I really want you to know as much of this stuff as you can. So when you are done with this reading quiz, again, my expectation is to complete all missing work, specifically in my class, because it's my class. I will allow you to do other classwork if you need to, but let's get the social studies stuff done. And more importantly, play some games. So learn my stuff. If you show me that you complete a game or two today in class, I'll allow you to do the other class work. That is my executive order. I don't think anybody's going to overturn it. These teachers operate differently than their government. So good luck on that quiz. I assure you, do the best you can, but let's get the other more expensive stuff done first. Or not first. Get the reading quiz done. This is your final reading quiz, so let's make that the code. Final. Bye.